I'm gonna clean up the alternator bracket. Looks like it's in pretty good shape, just the paint's been chipped a little bit. So quick trip in the sandblaster, prime and paint, and she should be looking good. Here's a tip: if you're gonna buy a sandblasting cabinet, buy a big one and get a decent compressor, because I use this thing all the time. I can't get over how often I use it and how big a part I put in it, and it's so handy to have. And right now I've got that air grill in there, working on that, but there's the alternator bracket. So we're gonna fire this thing up and we're gonna clean that stuff off of there. I'll kick the vent on. Sorry for the noise. Now you can see that in there. And we'll just blast it. You get the idea. That's too hard to do one-handed. So when you're done, nice clean metal. Oh, looks like I missed a spot. I'll throw her back in. But get all the stuff off, then you prep it, prime it, paint it. She comes out looking like brand new. So I'll catch that little corner there, and then we'll clean her up and put some primer on it. Just in case you're curious, this is the prep I'm using. Just a nice degreaser, and I'll wipe the whole thing down so it gets any dust off, any fingerprints, any grease, but after sandblasting there's no grease on it. Just gets it all ready to go, and then I hang it with a coat hanger. I've got a rack. This is my high-tech drying rack, and right now I'm doing the vacuum. Well, it's like a solenoid for the carburetor that keeps it from stalling when you lift off the throttle. It keeps the idle up for a few seconds. So I'm going to hang this part on there too, and that's my drying rack. Well, there you go. Nice coat of primer on there. Let that dry. Then we'll shoot it, I don't know, semi-gloss black should look good. And then we'll have the alternator bracket done. Now we got the alternator mounting bracket finished. I think we'll take a little time and pull the alternator, clean up the brackets, clean up the alternator just a little bit. So let's get started on that. Got the wiring off the back, got everything labeled, pulled the pivot bolt out, so now that should come right off. We'll set that down and we'll work on that in just a minute. Let's see what we got here. There's all the wiring labeled. This ought to be easy to tidy up. A little more room, so let's go after that. I've scraped it down and hit it with degreaser. Got it nice and clean, taped off the close stuff. We'll go in and just give that a little touch up, get it evened up in black, and that should be decent. There we go. There we go. That looks nice. And we got it all even down there. So now on to the alternator. I think we'll start off with a little Scotch-Brite and see if we can get some of the dullness off of this, get it close, and then maybe throw it on here and hit it with a little medium polish. Just not trying to make it shine, but just even it up, make it look decent. So we'll give it a shot. This front pulley, yeah, maybe we can reshoot this satin black or something. Just again, make it look even up. Now this thing is cracked. It just got a little chip out right here, but nothing we can do about that, and I don't think that's really going to affect function. So let's take a little Scotch-Brite to it, see what we can make happen. Well, I wound up taping it off, putting it in the blast cabinet. Really low pressure, really fine abrasive. and just dusted it. Just getting that surface evened up a little bit and getting the dirt off, because there's all kinds of nooks and crannies there. So that just kind of evens up the look. Cleaned up the hardware. I'll repaint the middle and I'll repaint that pulley, and we'll take a look at it and see how that all looks. Yeah, a lot of tape. We'll paint that center area, and we'll freshen up the pulley a little bit. So we'll give it a shot. We'll let that dry and we'll pull the tape off. See how it looks. I shot that with satin, so it should dull down a little bit. Now we let it dry overnight, and now we've pulled the tape off. It looks pretty good. Like I say, not a big deal, just kind of freshen things up a little bit, get a nice even coat on it. So that is raw aluminum with satin black, and we'll pop that on. We'll put some new hardware with it, again, just make it look nice, and we'll put that back on the car and we'll keep building from there. And we got it back installed on the engine. I think that looks a lot better. Obviously we got to put the other bracket on, and that won't go on until the surge tank goes on. I gotta put the wiring back in, but that's easy. So just from the appearance standpoint, a couple minutes, a little bit of TLC, and I think that really looks decent.